Hey everyone, welcome to this channel. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad to have you. Today's story is a near-death experience that will leave you questioning everything you think you know. It's a powerful journey of faith, transformation, and a divine encounter. This is the story of a Muslim man who, after a fatal accident, found himself face-to-face with Jesus during his near-death experience. Our story begins in the life of Muhammad, a 26-year-old man living in the city of Isfahan, Iran, in 1977. Muhammad was a devout Muslim, living his life much like any other. He had recently taken up a job in the city of Mashhad, about 800 miles away from his hometown, thanks to a friend's suggestion. He wasn't particularly happy about it, but he accepted it as part of his life's journey. One day, while driving back to visit his family, Muhammad's life took an unexpected and terrifying turn. It was early morning. The roads were narrow, and another vehicle was headed straight toward him. Unable to avoid the oncoming car, Muhammad's vehicle collided head-on, and in that split second, everything changed. The crash left Muhammad critically injured. He was rushed to a small local hospital, where doctors desperately worked to save him. But as they fought to keep his body alive, Muhammad was experiencing something beyond the physical world. As the medical staff surrounded him, working frantically, Muhammad's thoughts were racing. He was angry at his friend who pushed him to take this faraway job, angry at the situation, and angry at the pain coursing through his body. But then, something changed. He suddenly felt a deep sense of peace, unlike anything he had ever known. Muhammad realized he was no longer in his physical body. He looked down and saw his own form lying motionless on the operating table. Yet, he felt more alive than ever. He could see the entire hospital room from every angle. His perspective was not bound by physical limitations. He saw the young nurse working on him, feeling sorrow for the young man she believed was dying. Muhammad tried to speak to her, to tell her that he was okay, but she couldn't hear him. He then noticed something shocking. The body on the operating table looked exactly like him. Was he dead? In that moment, Muhammad started to understand that he had left his earthly body behind. As soon as Muhammad thought of his mother, who was waiting for him at home, he found himself in front of her. She was preparing vegetables, entirely unaware of what had just happened to her son. Muhammad tried to hug her, tried to speak to her, but once again, she didn't seem to notice him. This was when Muhammad realized that he could be in multiple places at once. He was still aware of everything happening in the hospital, while simultaneously standing beside his mother in their family home. He tried to visit friends and family, but no matter who he went to, nobody could hear him, nobody could see him. At some point during his experience, Muhammad felt himself being pulled through a tunnel filled with brilliant light. Time and space no longer held any meaning. He entered a place filled with overwhelming peace and light, a place that felt like home. He saw other souls, beings of light, all in various stages of their own spiritual journeys. Each one emitted a certain amount of light, and he understood that their light was a reflection of their spiritual growth. He felt no envy or jealousy toward those with more light than him. Everything felt perfect and right, and Muhammad knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. Throughout this entire experience, Muhammad had sensed a presence following him, watching over him. It was not until he allowed himself to acknowledge this presence that he saw him, a radiant figure filled with love and light. It was Jesus. At first, Muhammad was confused. As a Muslim, he had revered Jesus as a prophet, but didn't expect to encounter him in such a divine way. But in that moment, Muhammad felt an overwhelming love emanating from Jesus, a love so pure and unconditional that he was drawn to him. Jesus radiated acceptance and understanding. Muhammad understood that Jesus had always been there, guiding him, loving him, long before this moment. Then, as if watching a movie, scenes from Muhammad's life played before him. He saw moments from his childhood, like the time he gave water to a dying tree when he was just a little boy. In his life review, this simple act of kindness was celebrated by the heavens. He understood that it was not the grand gestures that mattered, but the small, selfless acts of love that rippled through the universe. He also saw moments where he had caused harm to others, like when he had mercilessly bullied a boy in his youth. Muhammad felt the deep emotional pain he had inflicted upon that boy, and saw how that pain radiated through the world, affecting not just the boy, but everything around him: people, animals, even nature itself. Through this life review, Jesus communicated an important message to Muhammad. Every action, no matter how small, has an impact. Acts of love and kindness elevate the soul, while acts of harm and hatred weigh it down. The key to spiritual growth was love, pure, unconditional love. Muhammad understood that Jesus was not only a guide for Christians, but for all of humanity. He realized that love transcended religion, race, and creed. It was a universal truth that bound all souls together. After this profound experience, Muhammad was given a choice. He could stay in this beautiful place of light and peace, or he could return to his earthly life to fulfill his purpose. Though the decision was difficult, Muhammad knew he still had work to do. He chose to return, and just like that, he was back in his body, gasping for breath as the doctors worked to revive him. Muhammad's life would never be the same. His near-death experience had given him a new perspective, a deeper understanding of love, faith, and the afterlife. He lived the rest of his days with the knowledge that there is more to life than what we see on the surface, that there is indeed life after death, and that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Muhammad's experience shows us that sometimes the most profound spiritual truths come in moments when we least expect them. His encounter with Jesus during his near-death experience brought him a deeper understanding of life, love, and the divine. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, his story reminds us of the power of unconditional love and the hope that lies beyond this life. Thank you for watching. And if you found this story inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories like this.